All right, training camp day one. It's finally here. Feels so good to see the Detroit Lions back on the field. And this is for real now, right? I mean, you go through mini camp and OTAs and all that, and that's cool. But this is kind of let's get it started. So what we're going to look at today is just kind of the observations from training camp day one. Shout out to Pride of Detroit. Check them out. They were there. They really broke it down well. We're going to hit on a couple of things that they saw that I really love. And this is the first one, really. Charles Harris role expanding. We'll get to that in just a second. I love what they said here. Look, most things are played out as expected, but some players saw their roles evolve. For me, the standout was James Houston. They touch it on this article. I saw it somewhere else that James Houston really taken that leap that we were hoping for and expecting. Kind of tell already, even in day one. So we'll get to that, how he proved that he is really looking a lot better. So first of all, Hendon Hooker, Marvin Jones is the only surprise. Emmanuel Mosley, remember we picked him up coming off the injury, so no problems there. But Marvin Jones is the one that we'll have to kind of keep an eye on, and we'll talk about the guy we just traded for. Can't think of his name. He was there, but didn't play a whole lot. But the guys dealing with injuries last season were practice participants. Tracy Walker, Frank Ragnow, and Levi Onwuzurike. That is really cool. Great to see. So here's something that we saw that was kind of interesting was that Charles Harris was an edge rusher, obviously, but then they started to kind of use him in and out as a linebacker, dropping into coverage a little bit. So Harris shifted out to the Sam linebackers position. So again, we've talked about how the Lions are loaded up at defensive line, really with Kaminsky, Josh Paschal, Charles Harris, the Okwara brothers, James Houston. Who am I missing? Hutchinson, right? So that was kind of interesting. So Pride of Detroit goes in and breaks that all down of what that looks like. And, it says right here, make no mistake, Harris is still very much an edge rusher, but this expansion of duties can make him a significantly more important player in 23 than most expected and can give the Lions the ability to utilize more five-man fronts than originally anticipated. Cool. So it's something to keep in mind. Because I don't know what it really means. And it's kind of a weird thing. I didn't expect that, but just keep that in mind. And then here we go with this one. Okwara. Okay, so the Lions, James Houston and Julian Okwara split reps. Okay, so this is kind of a camp battle to watch because Julian Okwara, let's go, man. Like, right? We need him. We haven't had him. He's been in and out. Sometimes he comes in, makes plays. You're like, what? There he is. Let's go. And then you don't see him for 3 games. And then he's back. So it's like, what is Julian Okwara? We drafted him. We want him to be something. I don't know. James Houston, we're looking for that second year leap. So in some ways, we'd like Julian Okwara to kind of win this and really prove, hey, I'm a veteran dude. I've been here a few years. I'm like really ready to take the next step. In some ways, we want James Houston to be the guy because we saw what he can do last year. Man, if he could take another step, beat out Julian Okwara, like we'd love to see that. So Okwara started practice ahead of Houston, but it wasn't long before they swapped spots. Maybe that switches by design, but it's also worth recognizing that Houston made several solid plays dropping into coverage, something that he clearly needed to improve on. Well, Okwara was on the wrong side of a coach correction immediately before the switch happened. This will be something we continue to watch. I saw something else that said James Houston just looks quick and strong, right? And that's his thing. His quickness is really what separates him. You can just tell right away that James Houston, man, so keep an eye on that. James Houston going into the second year to be really something good. Hybrid nickel is a new normal. Love to see that. That's why we got CJ Gardner-Johnson and Brian Branch, the best safety nickel corner hybrid defensive back, I think, in the NFL draft. We get him in the second round, steal him. Remember, we steal him from the Packers. I love all that. Like to see that. I love seeing that the Lions are like, yeah, we've got hybrid nickels. We've got hybrid range impact safeties in Tracy Walker, Kirby Joseph. Those guys are both in. Then both rotated opposite of Iffy on the second team. These three are the clear top 3 options at this time in our safety position. So we love it. Tracy Walker, Kirby Joseph. So that means that CJ Gardner-Johnson is really going to be sliding all over the place. He's not going to be like a traditional safety, but instead he's going to be a nickel. Dude is just like going to change our defense. Think about how different our defense can be with CJ Gardner-Johnson versus like AJ Parker. Remember when he had AJ Parker? Cool, good story, but like he's not the guy that you need running your safeties and your nickels and the whole thing. Okay, Mosley didn't practice, so that's interesting because it's like, all right, so what does that look like? Jerry Jacobs. This is the beauty of what we did this offseason. We're able to get Jerry Jacobs now in a backup role or a guy that's a depth piece. Jerry Jacobs is a great corner, or he's a good corner. I'm not a great corner. He's a good corner. If he's your starting corner, you don't love that. But if he's coming off the bench or he's given reps or he can fill in for an injury, that is perfect. And that's what we see here. Mosley's out, Jacobs is in. Love it. Opposite of Cam Sutton. Awesome. Will Harris, who spent much of last season in the slot, was backing up Sutton with the second team. Perfect. Absolutely love that. And then also looking at right guard. Open battle for starting right guard. So Vaitai has been nursing a back injury since the last training camp, but most indicators suggest he would retain his starting guard role. But on Sunday, it was Graham Glasgow who opened up at the first team right guard, and Vaitai took snaps at second team. Again, long way to go, but remember, we get Graham Glasgow from Denver, who was with us, had a really good career at Michigan, then with us, then gets a big contract at Denver, doesn't kind of work out. It's COVID, it's weird, whatever, comes back here. He's a good player. Now he's older. Forget that he's definitely older, but I didn't even think of him starting. I didn't think that. I thought he would be a great backup, could do both guard positions and the center position. That's interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on that. And then Denzel Mims. He didn't get in too much. It's his first day. Again, taking everything slow, but Jared Goff says, yeah, he's big, tall, and fast. And he said, look, we'll see. He's got to get here. He's got to get some things going on. But he just took some individual wasn't in practice, but it was on the side doing a lot of individual work. So love that as well to see Denzel Mims is here and ready to go. So it's going to be really awesome. So let me know your thoughts in the comments on this. It's day one. We're taking it easy. That's a bunny in the back. You did see that correctly. It's okay. What are you looking for in day number 2? What are you looking for overall, and what between these battles, what intrigues you the most? I'm really intrigued with Denzel Mims and just hope to see him get out there. And it's interesting that we did make that trade because you saw how we had some injuries at the wide receiver position. Obviously, Jameson Williams is suspended, so we'll see what happens there. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see all of you on the next one.